It's 3 in the morning, the world is quiet, save for the gentle hum of the refrigerator and the distant bark of a neighbor's dog who, frankly, should also be asleep. You, however, are wide awake, staring at the ceiling as if it holds the secrets to the universe. You've counted sheep, you've tried that breathing technique your well-meaning auntie told you about, and you've even considered reading the terms and conditions of your new washing machine. Anything to summon the Sandman. But sleep, it seems, has packed its bags and gone on an extended holiday without you, leaving your brain to throw a full-blown tantrum. This isn't just a restless night, it's the beginning of an epic saga, a 72-hour journey into the peculiar world of a sleep-starved mind. We've all been there, haven't we? That one night before a big exam or an early flight when our brain decides to host an all-night party. But what happens when that one night stretches into 2 and then into 3? It's a bit like running a marathon you never signed up for, except the finish line is a comfortable bed and your legs are made of jelly. Going without sleep for 72 hours is less of a superpower and more of a self-inflicted science experiment. It's a bit like telling your body's most important employee, your brain, that it's not allowed to clock off, go home, or even have a tea break for 3 days straight. You can imagine it wouldn't be too pleased, and it has some rather dramatic ways of showing it. Let's be honest. Staying awake for 3 days sounds like something a university student might attempt for a dare, fueled by lukewarm pizza and a questionable amount of energy drinks. The reality, however, is far less glamorous and a lot more bewildering. It's a journey where you might find yourself arguing with a toaster or becoming intensely emotional about a dropped biscuit. Your brain, usually the calm and collected captain of your ship, starts steering you towards some very strange waters. This isn't just about feeling a bit tired and grumpy, it's about watching your own mind slowly unravel, one misplaced thought and forgotten name at a time. It's a rebellion in your own head and you're the only one with a front row seat. So buckle up. We are about to embark on a fascinating, slightly chaotic and often hilarious exploration of what happens when you tell sleep to take a hike for 72 hours. Think of it as a guided tour through a funhouse, but the funhouse is your own mind. We'll meet the strange characters that emerge from the shadows of exhaustion, from the phantom spiders to the sudden urge to cry at a picture of a particularly cute kitten. It's a story of a brain on strike, a body running on empty, and the desperate, universal human need for a good long nap. Spoiler alert, the story ends with you wanting to give your pillow a very big hug. So, why do we even need to sleep? It seems like a bit of a design flaw, doesn't it? For 8 hours a day, we are unconscious, vulnerable, and completely unproductive. We can't hunt, we can't gather, and we certainly can't binge-watch our favorite television series. But sleep is not a bug in our system, it is the most important feature. Think of your brain like a bustling city office during the day. Phones are ringing, emails are flying, people are rushing about, and by the end of the day, the place is a complete mess. There are metaphorical paper scraps on the floor, overflowing bins, and half-eaten sandwiches left on desks. Sleep is the nightly cleaning crew that comes in to tidy everything up, ensuring the office is sparkling and ready for another busy day. This cleaning service is incredibly thorough. While you are peacefully snoozing, your brain is hard at work. One of its most important jobs is to clear out all the waste products that build up during your waking hours. One of these is a chemical called adenosine, which accumulates the longer you are awake and is one of the reasons you start to feel sleepy. When you sleep, your brain's waste disposal system kicks into high gear, flushing out adenosine and other toxins. It's like a power wash for your mind. Without this nightly cleanse, the rubbish just piles up, making it harder for your brain cells to communicate with each other. It's no wonder you can't think straight after a bad night's sleep. Your brain is literally cluttered. But the housekeeping team does more than just take out the bins. It also sorts through the day's files, deciding what to keep and what to shred. This is how sleep helps us with our memories. During the day, we learn countless new things, from a colleague's name to a fascinating fact about otters. At night, your brain replays these experiences, strengthening the important connections and pruning the ones that aren't needed. It's like a diligent librarian, organizing the shelves of a vast library, making sure you can find that important piece of information when you need it. This is why a good night's sleep before an exam is often more beneficial than staying up all night to cram. You're giving your brain the time it needs to file everything away properly. Finally, this nightly service also performs essential maintenance on your body. While your mind is being tidied and organized, your body gets to work on repairs. It produces hormones that help mend muscles, fight off infections, and keep your immune system in top-notch condition. It regulates your appetite, your mood, and your energy levels for the day ahead. Sleep isn't just a period of inactivity, it's a critical, active process that keeps both your brain and body running smoothly. It's the ultimate life hack, a free, all-natural performance enhancer that we all have access to. Ignoring it is like telling the cleaning crew to take the night off, day after day, until you're buried under a mountain of mess. The first 24 hours without sleep are deceptive. You might even feel a strange sense of euphoria, a kind of giddy caffeine-fueled superpower. You've conquered the night, and as the sun rises you feel like you've been given a bonus few hours in your day. This feeling, however, is a trick. Your brain is already starting to show the strain, even if you don't fully realize it. The first thing to go is your focus. Trying to concentrate on a single task becomes like trying to catch a slippery fish with your bare hands. Your mind wanders, you get easily distracted by a passing bird, or the hum of your computer, and you find yourself rereading the same sentence over and over again. It's your brain's polite first warning, a gentle tap on the shoulder saying, "Ahem, I believe we had an appointment with a pillow." As the day wears on, the grumbling gets louder. Your decision-making skills, usually sharp and reliable, start to get a bit fuzzy. You might find yourself standing in the supermarket for 10 minutes, locked in an intense internal debate over whether to buy brown or white bread, as if it were a life-altering choice. This is because the front part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, is highly sensitive to a lack of sleep. This is the sensible, adult part of your brain responsible for logic, planning, and impulse control. When it gets tired, it starts to check out, leaving the more emotional, impulsive parts of your brain in charge. Suddenly, buying that giant inflatable flamingo for the garden seems like an absolutely brilliant idea. By the evening of the first day, you're not just tired. You're tired in capital letters, with flashing lights and a siren. Your body starts to feel heavy, your eyelids feel like they have tiny weights attached to them, and your movements become clumsy. You might knock over a glass of water or walk into a door frame. This is your motor skills deteriorating. Your brain is struggling to send clear signals to your muscles, leading to a loss of coordination. It's the physical equivalent of your brain's Wi-Fi signal dropping to 1 bar. You're still connected, but the connection is slow, laggy, and prone to dropping out at the most inconvenient moments. The world also starts to look a little different. Colors might seem brighter, sounds might seem louder, and your emotions are bubbling just below the surface. A mildly annoying comment from a colleague can feel like a personal attack, while a sweet advert on television might bring you to the brink of tears. Your emotional regulation is one of the first things to go haywire. Your brain's ability to put things into perspective is compromised, so every little thing feels magnified. This is the end of day one. You're clumsy, unfocused, and emotionally fragile. And the really scary part? You still have 2 more days to go. The fun is just getting started. Welcome to day 2, or as I like to call it, the toddler brain phase. After 48 hours without sleep, your brain regresses to a state of being that is remarkably similar to a grumpy 2-year-old. It's unreasonable, it's emotional, and it has the attention span of a gnat. The logical, rational part of your mind has well and truly left the building, and in its place is a demanding, tantrum-prone dictator who communicates primarily through sighs and frustrated groans. Simple tasks that you could normally do with your eyes closed, like making a cup of tea, now require the concentration of a bomb disposal expert. You might put the tea bag in the sugar bowl or pour hot water directly into the milk carton. It's not that you're being careless, it's that your brain's executive functions have gone on strike. The world now feels like a strange, confusing dream. You might experience something called microsleeps, which are brief, involuntary episodes of sleep that can last from a fraction of a second to 30 seconds. You might be in the middle of a conversation and suddenly your head will nod and you'll zone out for a moment before snapping back to reality, completely unaware that you just took a tiny nap. It's your brain's desperate attempt to get the rest it needs, even if it's just for a fleeting moment. This is incredibly dangerous if you're doing anything that requires sustained attention, like driving a car or operating heavy machinery. It's like the pilot of your plane momentarily falling asleep at the controls. Your perception of reality also starts to warp. You might begin to experience mild visual and auditory distortions. You could see things moving in the corner of your eye that aren't really there, or hear faint whispers when no one is speaking. This is your brain's sensory processing going haywire. It's struggling to interpret the information it's receiving from your eyes and ears, so it starts to fill in the blanks with its own strange creations. A friend of mine who once pulled an all-nighter for a project swore he saw his desk lamp gently swaying as if it were dancing. His brain, starved of rest, was starting to create its own entertainment. By the end of the second day, your cognitive performance is severely impaired. Studies have shown that being awake for this long can have a similar effect on your abilities as being legally drunk. Your reaction time is slowed, your judgment is poor, and your memory is shot to pieces. You might forget your own phone number or struggle to remember what you had for breakfast, if you even manage to make it. You're living in a fog, a mental haze that makes everything feel slow, difficult, and overwhelming. You've become a walking, talking zombie, and the most terrifying part is that the worst is yet to come. Your brain is not just a toddler anymore, it's a toddler in the middle of a full-blown floor-thumping meltdown. If day 2 was the toddler phase, then, well, day 3 is when your brain opens a direct portal to a bizarre alternate dimension. After 72 hours without a single wink of sleep, the line between reality and imagination becomes so blurred it might as well not exist. This is the stage where full-blown, complex hallucinations can begin. We're not just talking about seeing shadows in your peripheral vision anymore. We're talking about having a detailed conversation with a garden gnome you're convinced is giving you financial advice, or seeing spiders crawling all over the walls. Your brain, in its extreme state of exhaustion, starts to generate its own reality. It's like dreaming while you're wide awake. These hallucinations can be incredibly vivid and convincing. Your brain is no longer just misinterpreting sensory information, it is actively creating it from scratch. You might see, hear, and even feel things that are not there. One famous case involved a man who stayed awake for a radio competition and began to believe he was a famous philosopher, giving an imaginary lecture to a crowd of people in his living room. His brain had completely detached from the real world and constructed an elaborate fantasy. It's a powerful reminder that our perception of reality is entirely dependent on a well-rested brain. Without sleep, the director in our head goes rogue and starts making a very strange, unscripted film. Alongside the hallucinations, you're likely to experience significant paranoia and disordered thinking. You might become convinced that people are talking about you, or that there is a sinister plot unfolding around you. Your thoughts become fragmented and illogical, making it almost impossible to follow a conversation or form a coherent sentence. Trying to explain how you feel to someone else is like trying to describe the color blue to a person who has never seen it. The words just don't connect properly. Your brain's ability to organize thoughts and ideas has completely broken down, leaving you lost in a maze of confusing and often frightening mental chaos. At this point, your brain is in a state of crisis. It is so deprived of the restorative processes of sleep that it can barely perform its most basic functions. You are essentially experiencing a temporary form of psychosis, a severe mental state where thought and emotions are so impaired that contact is lost with external reality. This is the brain's final, desperate scream for help. It's a terrifying and dangerous state to be in, and it underlines the absolute non-negotiable necessity of sleep. Pushing your brain to this limit is not a test of strength, it's a gamble with your sanity. The land of make-believe might sound fun, but it's a place you really don't want to visit. While your brain is off visiting the land of make-believe, your body is facing its own serious crisis. Sleep is not just for the mind, it is absolutely essential for your physical health, particularly for your immune system. Think of your immune system as your body's personal army, a highly trained force of cells that patrols your body, seeking and destroying invaders like bacteria and viruses. When you sleep, your body uses this time to manufacture more soldiers for this army, specifically a type of protein called cytokines. These cytokines are crucial for fighting off infection and reducing inflammation. They are the weapons and armor your immune system needs to keep you healthy and safe from harm. When you deprive your body of sleep, you are essentially telling your defense ministry to shut down production. After just one night of poor sleep, the number of these crucial immune cells can drop significantly. After 72 hours without sleep, your immune system is in a state of complete disarray. Your army is depleted, your soldiers are unarmed, and your castle gates are wide open. You become incredibly vulnerable to any passing germ. That colleague sneezing 3 desks away suddenly poses a major threat. The common cold, which your body would normally fight off with ease, can knock you for 6. You are, in essence, walking around with a welcome germ sign taped to your back. This isn't just about catching more colds either. A weakened immune system has much more serious implications. chronic sleep deprivation is linked to a higher risk of developing serious health problems, including heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. Without sleep, your body struggles to regulate blood sugar, your blood pressure can rise, and you can develop chronic inflammation, which is a key driver of many long-term diseases. It's a domino effect. You stop sleeping, your immune system weakens, and your body becomes a breeding ground for a whole host of health issues. It turns out that a good night's sleep is one of the most powerful forms of preventative medicine available. The irony is that when you are this tired, your body is desperate for rest to fight off potential infections, but your brain simply won't allow it. It's a cruel catch-22. I once tried to power through a stressful week on just a few hours of sleep a night. I felt invincible for about 2 days, and then I was hit with the worst flu of my life. I spent the next week in bed feeling utterly defeated, my body finally forcing the rest I had denied it. It was a harsh lesson, but a valuable one. Your immune system doesn't make requests, it makes demands. And if you ignore them for too long, it will simply shut down and let the invaders take over. If you thought the physical and cognitive effects were dramatic, just wait until you experience the emotional chaos of 72 hours without sleep. Your emotional stability is one of the first and most dramatic casualties of sleep deprivation. The part of your brain that acts as your emotional regulator, the prefrontal cortex, is effectively offline. Meanwhile, the amygdala, your brain's emotional reaction center, the part responsible for anger, fear, and rage, is running rampant. It's like the sensible parent has gone out for the evening, leaving a hyperactive, sugar-fueled child in charge of the remote control. The result is an emotional roller coaster you never bought a ticket for. Your moods can swing wildly and unpredictably. One minute you might be laughing hysterically at something that isn't even funny, like the shape of a cloud. The next, you could be weeping uncontrollably because you can't find matching socks. There's no middle ground, only extremes. Small frustrations that you would normally brush off become monumental crises. A traffic jam isn't just an annoyance, it's a personal affront, a cosmic injustice designed specifically to ruin your day. Your ability to see the bigger picture is completely gone, replaced by an intense, overwhelming focus on the immediate negative. This heightened emotional reactivity makes social interactions incredibly difficult. You become irritable, snappy, and prone to conflict. A simple question like, "How are you doing?" can feel like an interrogation. You might misread people's facial expressions, interpreting a neutral look as a sign of anger or disapproval. This is because your exhausted brain loses its ability to accurately process social and emotional cues. You start to see threats where there are none, leading to feelings of paranoia and social withdrawal. You feel isolated and misunderstood, which only adds to the emotional turmoil. It's a lonely place to be, trapped in a head full of overblown emotions. I have a friend who, during a particularly grueling period of study, went for nearly 3 days without sleep. He told me that on the 3rd day, he saw a pigeon steal a chip from a tourist, and he was filled with such an intense, righteous fury that he almost started shouting at the bird. He knew on some level that this was a ridiculous reaction, but he couldn't stop the wave of emotion. That's the perfect summary of the sleep-deprived emotional state. You are a passenger in your own body, watching yourself behave in ways that feel both completely alien and utterly uncontrollable. It's a humbling and frankly terrifying experience that demonstrates just how much we rely on sleep to be the calm, rational, and kind people we strive to be. One of the most frustrating aspects of going without sleep is what it does to your memory. It's like a cunning thief has broken into your brain overnight and selectively stolen important files, leaving you with a confusing jumble of half-thoughts and forgotten facts. After 72 hours of wakefulness, your ability to both form new memories and recall old ones is severely compromised. You are living in a perpetual state of "what was I just doing? And why did I come into this room?" It's not just about misplacing your keys, it's about forgetting the name of your own street or struggling to recall a conversation you had just 5 minutes ago. Your brain has lost its stickiness. The process of memory formation has 2 key stages, and sleep is vital for both. The first is acquisition, the process of learning something new. When you're sleep deprived, you can't focus your attention, so it's incredibly difficult to learn anything in the first place. The information simply doesn't go in. It's like trying to write on a whiteboard with a dried-up marker pen. The second stage is consolidation, where the brain takes these fragile new memories and strengthens them, transferring them to long-term storage. This process happens almost exclusively during deep sleep. Without it, any new information you did manage to acquire is likely to be washed away, lost forever. This memory failure can lead to some comical, if worrying, situations. A sleep-deprived individual might repeat the same story to the same person 3 times in an hour, completely unaware they've told it before. They might put their mobile phone in the refrigerator or try to unlock their front door with their car keys. I once worked through the night on a deadline and the next afternoon spent a full 10 minutes searching for my glasses, which were, of course, on top of my head the entire time. My brain simply couldn't access the file labeled "location of glasses." It was as if the file had been temporarily corrupted. This has serious implications beyond just day-to-day forgetfulness. Imagine a doctor, a pilot, or a lorry driver in this state. The inability to recall critical information or remember the correct procedure could have catastrophic consequences. It highlights that memory isn't just a nice-to-have feature for remembering birthdays. It's a fundamental tool for navigating the world safely and effectively. Going without sleep is like deliberately taking a hammer to your brain's filing cabinet. You might not destroy it completely, but you're going to make a terrible mess and lose some very important documents in the process. Your memories are a core part of who you are, and protecting them is as simple as getting a good night's rest. After our whirlwind tour through the chaotic landscape of a 72-hour sleep-deprived brain, the conclusion is rather simple and resoundingly clear. We desperately need to sleep. It is not a luxury, an indulgence, or something to be hacked away to make more time for work or play. It is a fundamental biological necessity, as vital to our survival and well-being as air, water, and food. Pushing our bodies and minds to the brink of exhaustion is not a badge of honor, it is an act of self-harm. The hallucinations, the emotional turmoil, the memory loss, they are not funny party tricks. They are the desperate warning signs of a system in crisis, a brain and body begging for rest. We live in a culture that often glorifies being busy and treats sleep as a sign of weakness. We hear phrases like "I'll sleep when I'm dead" and see people praised for burning the midnight oil. But as we've seen, a lack of sleep doesn't make you more productive. It makes you inefficient, clumsy, irritable, and unwell. It robs you of your creativity, your judgment, and your ability to connect with others. The greatest minds and top performers in every field, from athletes to artists, understand that rest is not the opposite of work, it is an essential part of it. It is during sleep that we repair, recharge, and prepare ourselves to be at our best. So, I encourage you to see sleep not as an inconvenience but as an invitation. It is a nightly invitation to a private, restorative sanctuary where your mind is cleaned, your memories are saved, and your body is healed. It is an act of kindness to yourself, a daily commitment to your long-term health and happiness. Start by making small changes. Create a relaxing bedtime routine. Turn off your screens an hour before you plan to sleep. Make your bedroom a dark, quiet, and cool haven. Prioritize your 8 hours as you would any other important appointment because it is the most important one you have. Think of your relationship with sleep as a partnership. If you treat it with respect and give it the time it deserves, it will repay you tenfold with better health, a sharper mind, and a more joyful life. So tonight, when your head hits the pillow, don't think of it as losing time. Think of it as an investment in a healthier, happier, and more coherent you. Accept the invitation to the land of Nod. Your brain, your body, and the people who have to interact with you tomorrow will be eternally grateful. Sweet dreams.